Welcome everyone to Planet of NY Sports. Here we talk Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, and a little bit of the Knicks and Nets. So today we are joined by a new co-host. His name is Jayden. Jayden, you just want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jayden. How you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. So, first topic of the day, we are going to talk some football. So we can talk about the Jets and the Vikings first from last week, considering Rodrick's prediction. He was pretty off on that. So Rodrick, I know you guys won the game, but still. So let's just hear your thoughts about that game, Rodrick.
Well, to start off, I was horribly wrong. Just off by like several miles. I think I said Jayden was gonna have like 160 yards. He didn't even pass 50. I think I said he was gonna have 2 touchdowns. He got 1, but I'm not gonna say he got locked up necessarily because Sauce wasn't, traveling with him the whole game. There was a couple PIs, a couple holdings, but I think it was a fairly even matchup. I was wrong, but when you got someone like JJ, you can kind of go crazy a couple times with your predictions. So I was off, but I'd probably still make those predictions. He's amazing.
I feel I want to take away from what Roger was saying. I feel like JJ didn't have a bad game. Sauce Gardner is he's a great corner. You can't say anything about that. It's just talent against talent. You know what it is. But the Vikings did come out with a great W. The Jets did come back and try to make a hard fight with that game. But that was a great game.
It was. It definitely was a great game.
Yep, for sure. So going on to that, I have a power rankings. I'll just do like the top 15. We're not going to talk about the bottom feeding teams like in the league because there's just no point. Most of those teams are tanking, and we're not going to talk about it. So, all right, at number 1, I have not the Minnesota Vikings. I have the Eagles. I think it's pretty obvious why they're 11-1. At number 2, it pains me to do this. I hate this team, but they've been hot. They just scored like 33 unanswered points in the final 15 minutes of a game, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys at number 2. I don't know. It's just they're hot right now. They're looking like one of the best teams. It's pretty sad to see if you're a New York sports fan. Anyways. The Bengals. I have the Bengals at number 3. Considering they beat the Chiefs, I'm not going to put the Chiefs over them. I can't. I know these are some hot takes here, but I know. Now, anyways, hear me out. Number 4, I have the Bills. They also beat the Chiefs too. They're hot. Rodrick, the Vikings are coming. The Vikings are coming. Don't worry. At number 5, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs at number 5. They definitely dropped down a few spots after, losing to the Bengals. They've already lost to the Bills. So, okay. Rodrick, okay, calm down. At number 6, I have the Vikings. I have the Vikings at number 6. Listen, they almost lost. They almost lost to Mike White. They almost lost. If what's his name would have caught the Vikings, and you guys were up by a lot too. You were in control of that game for basically almost the whole entire time. I don't know what happened. I'm sure your emotions through that game were probably through the roof. You were probably like screaming, after the first half, Rodrick, and then in the second half, somehow you guys were like, okay, what's going on in the third quarter, and then in the fourth quarter. Ooh, that was rough. I'm sure Rodrick was probably tempted to throw to his TV. All right. Now at number 7, I have the 49ers. I think this is a good spot for them. It's going to be really interesting to see, what they do at like Brock Purdy, at quarterback now, because Jimmy G, he's apparently done for the year, but then they're saying he's like, he may come back during the playoffs, but we don't know. So at number 8, I have the Dolphins. I'm just going to go rapid fire after this. At number 9, I have the Titans. They just came off a loss against the Eagles. It was pretty bad. At number 10, I have the Ravens. Lamar Jackson is also hurt. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Number 11, I have your New York Jets. They almost if they had beat the Vikings, they would have been higher on my list. They would have. Now at number 12, I have the Seattle Seahawks. They almost lost to freaking John Wolford. And we'll get into like the Rams a little, touch on Baker Mayfield and stuff too. But they almost lost to them, so I can't really, And then at number 13, I have your New York Giants. I have us over Washington. We could have won that game. I already talked about it in the pregame, so I'm not going to touch on it too much, but we could have won that game. All right. At number 14, Washington. If Washington had beat us, I would have had them ahead of us. Now, at number 15, originally before the Rams game, I had the Raiders there. Not anymore. Not after losing to Baker Mayfield in the way that they did. Absolutely not.
No.
I have the Tampa Bay Bucks. I can't put the Raiders there. Before they were on that winning streak and stuff, I was like, oh, okay. But after losing to freaking Baker Mayfield, you let Baker Mayfield do that? Nah. You don't deserve that spot. So
I just want to say, my fault for cutting you off, Russell.
No, it's good.
You keep going.
No,
I just wanted to say
the end of it, so it's fine.
Okay. Oh, bro, Baker Mayfield was going crazy that game. I don't know what it was. He can't. It only took him 48 hours to get on the field. You gotta give him props after that. That was a great comeback win, including how their field position was horrible. Yeah, that was a great comeback win for Baker Mayfield. And he was in Carolina for half a year, didn't get to play. Coaching staff was not messing with him. He comes in with LA, does his thing, has a game-winning drive. That's a great storyline right there.
Yeah,
but
it was something out of a movie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I cannot agree with the Vikings at 6. I can't agree with it. I'm going with Rodrick on this one. I feel like the Vikings have to be like top 4. I'm a Chiefs fan, diehard Chiefs fan, but I'm putting the Vikings over the Chiefs. Great. That was the Vikings just held on. They have a great defense. I'm going to say that.
You think? Okay. So do you think the Vikings would beat the Chiefs?
Depending on, the scheme, I don't know. It's hard to say. Chiefs defense, we're not as good as the Vikings defense. That's one thing for sure. Their offense has so many weapons. Like you got TJ Hawkinson, JJ, Adam Thielen's a great, KJ Osborne. Who was it? Dalvin Cook. Their backup running back is nice too. I don't know. That's going to be a hard game just to say. That's a Super Bowl game right there.
Wait a minute. So just going back, you said the Vikings have a great defense. This is the same team that almost basically spit the bit against the Jets. Their defense.
But think about this. Their defense held up in the red zone. A lot of defenses can't do that, including against the Jets. The Jets have Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis.
I like to say
their running game is great too.
6 drives in the red zone, 1 touchdown.
Exactly. So I would give them their red zone defense is pretty good to beat the Jets aren't okay. The Jets aren't the best team. We all know this. They're okay team. They're 7-5, but their offense has a lot of explosive game, including on that running game. Like they couldn't run the ball in the red zone at all. That run game was not irrelevant in that game.
Okay, just to go off of that, I have some stats.
Here we go.
Is he frozen?
I think he is.
That's unfortunate. Russell.
What?
Russell, you're frozen.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're moving now.
No, not no more.
Okay, yeah. I saw the lag. All right. Anyway, Mike White and the Jets offense, they had 486 yards on the Vikings. Mind you, before Mac Jones and the Patriots offense, it's not very good. Their offense is not good. Let's be real here. They had 382 yards against the Vikings defense. So I don't know if I would say the Vikings have a great defense. I think they have a good defense, but I think there are I think there's some problems. Rodrick, go ahead.
I know what the stats say, but just to dispute that point, our DC, literally the guy who's calling plays every Sunday for the defense, has said he does not care about yards. He doesn't care about that. He cares about points. And if you look at that Vikings offense, that offense is going to put up, just kind of the Eagles and Cowboys game. That offense has put up 24 plus points a game. If the defense, who cares how many yards they get? If the defense is holding them to less than that consistently, they're going to win games. So I guess, it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look great. Which have a nice pass rush. You have some decent cornerbacks. I mean, it's not I don't know about great defense. Again, not great. But for this team, it can get the job done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I was just saying it's not a great defense. There's definitely some holes in there that make me go, I can't put them up with with the 49ers defense. I can't put them
No.
That's the defense in the league. You can't,
49ers defense is crazy. Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
I don't want to play them. I don't want to, and I have firsthand experience. You don't want to go to Santa Clara in the playoffs. You really don't.
Yeah.
I think you will. Sure. I don't think you will. If you guys do it, you'll be in Minnesota. But if it's an 8 p.m., you guys are losing.
If you're the Giants,
for sure.
The Niners win the division, and your first round you have to go to Santa Clara in the wild card round. I don't care if they have Brock Purdy. That's still a tough matchup, But yeah.
Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. He makes some great adjustments, including coming into this year. The 49ers were not that good, very explosive. They really weren't that good, and then I don't know what happened. He just kept going on a roll. That coaching staff is great.
I don't know if I would say they weren't that good, but they did have to make some adjustments with Trey Lance coming in, and then
that's what I mean. Yeah,
going to Garoppolo and then going to only certain coaches can do that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying he's a great coach for that.
Definitely.
And getting CMC also helped that too.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Jayden. Coming into the season with the 49ers and in the beginning, it did not feel like they would be, where they're at now. I always felt like they'd be middle of the road, probably a wild card team. I didn't think they'd be leading the division like this and stuff. Obviously the Rams fell off massively, but still it's nice to see. Trey Lance, I don't really know. The team plays better when Jimmy G is playing, from what we've seen somehow. I don't know how that works. Maybe Trey Lance just isn't ready. Who knows? But anyways, let's segue here into some baseball. So this week there's a lot of key signings. I'll come to the Yankees after. Let's get the Mets first. So
yes, sir.
Rodrick,
which signing do you want to talk about first?
I don't want to talk about signing first. I like to talk about a trade. Now, if you watch the Mets offseason, I guess, predictions or hopes? If you watch me in the DeGrom rant, if you watch me in the Verlander signing rant, the thing I talked about every single time, a lefty in the bullpen. And what do the Mets do? They go to Tampa Bay. Great pitching staff, great farming organization. What do? They trade Keyshawn Askew, who's a low-level prospect, but trade him for Brooks Raley. You get a good lefty, 2.68 ERA and 53.2 innings pitched, 61 strikeouts, and a 0.97 whip. That's a great
move.
Now, I did say I wanted to. Great move. It's just you got a low A player for a major league player who's a lefty specialist. I think I read a stat that lefties are batting 163 against them. Now you guys got like Harper and Schwarber, and you guys got guys like that. Now you can get that guy in there instead of putting Joely Rodriguez in the game. So it's just little moves like that go a long way. That's what I want to talk about.
What about re-signing?
Yeah. Let's get your thoughts on that.
I feel, I could agree with this move. I love the move. Great move with the Mets organization bringing in that guy. But Jacob deGrom, bro, oh my gosh, he was one of the great pitchers that we had. Not gonna say, it was bad to let him go, but when he's not injured and he's actually doing good, I feel like he's a great pitcher.
So amazing.
That's what I think. Not saying, we did make a great move by getting him, but Jacob deGrom, letting him go, just walk off, not even offer him probably a 1 year, 2 year contract. I feel like that was a bad move.
We're pretty far off in negotiations from what I was hearing. But what do we do? What do we do? What do we do, Russell? What do the Mets do to replace DeGrom? What do we do? We sign Verlander. We sign Daddy Verlander. All right. We sign JV. And then what else do we do? We signed Jose Quintana. Did you see what Taijuan Walker got? He got 4 years, $71 million. And he posted like a 3.5 ERA last year. Terrible second half. Quintana, we gave him a 2-year, $26 million deal, $13 million a year. He had a great year last year. He's an innings eater. Amazing. And then I love watching an organization who has a goal, has a vision, and then they do what it takes to actually, make sure they can see their vision. Unlike other teams that we've seen in recent memory. But yeah, just the little things, like when the owner says he's gonna get a winning product, he gets the winning product.
Yep. Great.
Is that
it was
product?
great
Who's in a wild card?
I mean, that was year one. There's more coming. All right, there's more coming. Speaking of,
we're going back to that World Series. World Series next year. New York Mets.
We'll be there. You won't.
Believe it. Believe it. Yankees are not making the World Series next year. They make the playoffs. They're not making the World Series.
I don't think as of right now, I don't think either are making the World Series. But we'll come back to that. Now,
I'd say that the Yankees are not going to make it because they're not that good, but the Mets aren't going to make it because the NL is stacked.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Exactly.
Continue.
Yeah, I agree, because the Yankees can't get by Houston, and we know that. And unless I'll talk about them after because I have some notes. But anyways, let's just look at this here. So age is definitely going to be a factor with the Mets rotation. You look at Scherzer and Verlander, 38, 39, and then Quintana is also 34. Cookie Carrasco, 35. Age is definitely an issue here. It's an issue because, like I said before in one of the previous videos, these guys can just drop off, especially with Scherzer and or Verlander. We don't know. You can't really expect a lot. The regular season, that's not going to be like what tells you, you can't go off of that. It's going to be in the postseason. Yeah. The postseason is what's going to tell you, all right, are we getting what we're paying for here? That's what's going to tell you, because we saw Scherzer in the wild card game one. We're not going to keep getting into it. I know Rodrick, we don't want to relive that. Jayden, go ahead.
I was going to say, I feel like, old age is a factor, but I feel like that's better because you're bringing in veterans and they've been in a situation before and they can help each other, get better and move on, from the wild card and probably make it to the World Series. It's all about bringing in older guys to help you get into that point. Age is definitely a factor, but that sometimes is a good thing. Bringing in old guys, sometimes it always works.
Okay, but then, so what I like to bring up here with old pitchers, here's the thing. One, injuries, obviously, but I don't think, and looking at Max Scherzer with his history and, late in the season, apparently, he has an arm issue or it's something. We saw it this season, saw it last season, with the dead arm and stuff. I think he probably had it again if you look at his playoff performance in that wild card game. But then also, the main example I go to here is Randy Johnson in the 2000s when he signed with the New York Yankees. So, Verlander. It is a lot different than pitching in either Detroit or Houston. This is New York. This is New York. We're expecting championships here. That's what we're expecting here. So, here's the thing. Like I said, it's not Detroit. It's not Houston. This is way different. And not everyone is made for New York. We saw it with Randy Johnson. We've seen it with a ton of pitchers. We've seen it. So, how do you guys think JV will pitch in New York, as a New York Met in the postseason? I don't care about the regular season. We don't care about that here. We don't care about it. So how do you guys think they'll do in the postseason with a non-biased perspective?
I think that he will be a little bit fatigued because he's been playing a lot of games, and hopefully he does get like a rest or whatever. But he will be very tired. His arm is going to be taking a beating. So I don't really know. I mean, it depends. Everybody's body's different. Hopefully, he goes into this off season, taking care of his body, getting it, ready for the playoffs instead of just the season. But it all depends. You never know what's going to happen. It's not just because it's pitching or this and that. It's more stuff. It's practice and stuff like that. So that could take another toll on his body. So we'll see. I don't want to say anything because that's not always going to be the thing about injuries. Injuries happen and stuff like that. But hopefully his body is ready for the playoffs, and hopefully his body's 100%.
Rodrick, what's your thoughts on that?
I think he'll do fine. I think he'll do fine. I'm not gonna say he's gonna do great. I'm not gonna say he's gonna do terrible. But what I'm kind of looking for is, if you look at that rotation, you have DeGrom, you have not DeGrom.
We lost him, Rodrick. We lost him. We lost him. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm still coping. I'm still coping.
I'm coping too, Rodrick.
Oh God. All right. Yeah, you have Verlander, you have Scherzer. What I'm looking for, opening day and game 1 of the postseason, because I assume we're gonna make it. I'm really interested to see how Buck plays. I'm really interested to see who his number 1 starter is, because opening day, I don't know. It doesn't really matter who we play, but who's going to start game 1 of the season, right? Because game 1 of the season, that's your best pitcher. Everybody's right. Everybody's right. And I believe he'll probably pitch Scherzer just because Verlander was pitching in the World Series. Scherzer's season ended a little bit earlier than that, unfortunately. But game 1 of the postseason, who is he going to start? Is he going to go with Scherzer or is he going to go with Verlander? Because they're both old. They're not old. Well, they are old. But they're both veteran pitchers. Both have a ton of playoff experience. I wonder who Buck goes to. And personally, I think he's going to go with Verlander. But I wouldn't bet money on that.
And you should.
I wouldn't bet money on that either.
No, definitely not. But and going on to not just opening day, like you said, game 1 of the playoffs. Let's say you are in that wild card again. We've seen now you have to start your best pitcher game 1. You have to. The Mets, they tried to be too cute. They're like, no, we're gonna pitch DeGrom. Game 2. That did not work out. You can't do that. You got to start your best guy game 1. And so whoever ends the season, I still wouldn't have Scherzer go game 1 just after last year. Unless he has some great bounce back style of the year. Exactly. Then I'll be like, all right, fine. But otherwise, if he stays around the same, no, you got to go Verlander, I would say. Even him in the postseason, he hasn't been great, but still, I would still just go, Verlander over Scherzer in this situation. And then game 3, it's looking like Jose Quintana, unless the Mets.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, he was pretty good when he was with the Cardinals too in the postseason. He pitched good in that. Then they pulled him, and then it was a disaster after that.
Went downhill fast.
We all know he wanted our 3 starter. We all know.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting into here. So, Kodai Senga, Rodrick. Apparently, the Mets are still in on him. Can I just get some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple thoughts. So, the Mets have been interested with him or have been linked to him all offseason. Reports have been like, we're going to give him a 5 to 6 year deal, which, okay. The Red Sox have been rumored to be wanting to give him a 7-year deal, which is pretty interesting given the Red Sox situation right now. They're not really, they lost Bogart, but not really rebuilding, or they're not really, trying to. I don't know what they're doing. They're mediocre.
They're lost. They're lost in the sauce. They're lost.
They don't have lost in the sauce. Well, yeah, back to the Mets. Kodai Senga. I mean, just to tell you what I know about the guy. Mid-90s fastball with the changeup and splitter combo. I think I'm just hoping for a couple of things if he does go to the Mets. One, like you talked about, I hope New York does not get to him. If he's going to be here, he's going to be here for a pretty long time, 5 to 6 years. Mm-hmm. Can you pitch like you pitched to I guess what some would say AAA hitters in the league he was in, because I think they compare the leagues to. Can you pitch like that to guys like Bryce Harper, Reese Hoskins, who else? Trey Turner now. You know, can you pitch to those guys? Can you pitch to Ronald Acuna, Matt Olt, like all these guys? And can you do it in the big spots? Like you talked about, this is New York, all right? We're trying to win chips here. We need stuff right here, all right? If you're not doing that and you're not, pitching as you should in the postseason, it doesn't matter. You know, you look at a guy like Don Mattingly, Yankees legend, but the guy never won. That's why some people don't know who he is. But everybody knows who Derek Jeter is. You know, everybody knows who Mariano Rivera is. Because what do? They won. You can be a great player. Kodai Senga could be he could have a 0-yard rate in the regular season. If you stink it up, like as Russell said, if you stink up the joint in the playoffs, nobody's gonna remember you as a Met legend. You're not getting your jersey retired for Cy Young. You're getting your jersey retired for rings. I know that's not how it always works, but I just hope that, first, New York does not get to him. I also hope that he can adjust to the league. I hope that he can show that he's, ready for this. I believe he's 29. Maybe somebody can fact check that for me. But I believe he is ready. He's been in the KBO for a while now, but it's time to, I guess, take that step. And I'm just hoping he can do that from the jump, not like mid-season. I hope he can do it from game 3 of the season if we get him.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on here, the Mets, they also, before we get into Nimmo and re-signing him, they also signed a reliever by the name of David Robertson. $10 million deal. So instant reactions on signing David Robertson.
Job well done.
Yep.
It's looking like we're going to lose Lugo. A lot of teams are interested in him. I believe the Yankees are on him, if I'm not mistaken. But, we're not.
I think they did. Yeah.
He's like a backup option.
Yeah, he's like a seventh inning guy. But we're probably going to lose Lugo, so he's gone. You need to replace him. And you might lose Ottavino too. Hopefully we don't. We're still, trying to get him back. But David Robertson got a veteran pitcher. Again, the Mets stacking these veteran with postseason experienced pitchers. You're not getting guys like Tyler McGill and David Peterson who are pissing themselves in big spots. All right? You can't have that happen. All right.
No. Yeah.
David Robertson got the cutter, got the slider. Mets fans know him well because, Mark Canha kind of teed off on him last year in Philadelphia. But that's besides the point. It's a good signing. He started his career with the Yankees. Like I said, postseason experience. Now, I don't know, Russell. Maybe you can give me some insight. How was he as a Yankee?
How was who? David Robertson?
Yeah.
Oh, he was really good. You're gonna like. Yeah, you're gonna like him. You're gonna like him. I think Met fans will definitely, he should be good in his role. Obviously, like with us, he was like, he was closing games and stuff, but like now, as what is he now? Like he's gonna be. Depending on who you sign, he'll be like a the seventh inning type of guy. It depends who else the Mets sign for their bullpen. But I still think Met fans, you're gonna like him.
I think as of right now, he's probably an 8th inning guy, a setup man for him or Raley to give it to Diaz. But the Mets also last year with Ottavino had like 10 saves because you want a guy who you trust to close the game up by like more than 4 runs. Because you don't want to bring in, the last guy in the bullpen who, gives up 3 or 4 runs, and now you got to bring in Diaz. You want a guy who is going to shut it down. So, I mean, let's see. 2.40 ERA and 63.2 innings pitched. Those are great numbers. If he can pitch to a 2.6, 2.7, 60, 55 innings, I'm okay with that. It's not like we signed him to this massive deal like we did to somebody else. But if he can provide what he should provide, it'll be a good signing. And I like it just from now.
Yeah, and he can definitely handle New York too. We know that. So that's not an issue, obviously. So anyways, let's talk about Brandon Nimmo before we get into the Mets' payroll. That's going to be a whole discussion.
Yes, sir.
So Jayden, do you want to, give your thoughts on Brandon Nimmo first?
I think it was a great re-sign. I'm real. I think it's a great re-sign. He's 29 years old. He's still got time left on him, and he's going to be a great player. Including what we signed him for. So I think he'll be great. Bringing him back to New York. And we already have somebody there, and we know him. It's not like we brought in a new guy. We know him. He's used to it. Used to what we're doing, and yeah, he can definitely help us.
For sure. So, Rodrick, can I get your thoughts on the Nemo re-sign?
You got my thoughts a little early. I got a little early access a couple of days ago, but what I've been hearing a lot, I'm not even going to go on my reaction because you know my reaction. I was jumping for joy. But a lot of people have been saying, like Alex, one of our co-hosts, it's a pretty long deal. 8 years is a long time. And he's going into his 830 season, so he should be in his prime years, according to, baseball knowledge. But 8 years is a very long time. Now, in those last years of that deal, like Russell talked about with Judge, is that contract kind of going to be kind of an albatross? It's going to be someone's going to weigh the team down. I mean, he's making $20 million a year. The Mets are spending an unreal amount of money, for their team. But I just hope that Nemo can continue what he's been doing. He's giving us like a couple of stolen bases a year, about 15 home runs, 60 RBIs, and he's batting 275. That's a good leadoff hitter. Good speed, good defense, 5-tool player. Nemo can keep doing that for 4 to 5, 6 years. That's a good deal. And those last years of the deal, whatever. Maybe if it's an issue, we get rid of him, which, it sucks to see anybody go. But I think Nemo, if he stays and he continues with the production that he's at right now, he'll probably go down as a Mets legend, and that's great. Speaking of that, though, I wonder how much Pete's going to get. I wonder how much.
I was going to bring that up. What do you think, Roger? How much do you think?
Well, I hear Ohtani rumors every day. So if we sign Pete to a big deal, which we better, I'll lose my mind if Pete leaves. But
I'm thinking like an 8-year contract, 8-year, 5-year.
Pete's I think he's gonna hit 28 this year. I believe he'll probably get like a 10-year deal worth about 270, maybe a little more than that. But
probably like 290.
Yeah, because
290, 300.
Yeah.
Around there.
Somewhere.
He's a great player.
That's what the Mets did. So far it's a great offseason. I hope the Yankees can do something so Russell has something to talk about. But yeah.
I mean, they got Aaron Judge back. That's great. I thought he was really going to go to San Fran. I thought he was going to San Fran. Not gonna lie, I did not think he was signing back with the Yankees. I thought his career with the Yankees was over, and he was going to the West. But somehow the Yankees got him back. So.
Yeah. Okay. So before I talk about Aaron Judge real quick, Rodrick did bring up the Mets' payroll, and I was just like basically thinking about it. Steve Cohen does not care. He doesn't care. He does not care about that luxury tax. He's basically like, screw that luxury tax at this point. He does not care. So let's just look at the stat here. Let me move this real quick. Okay. So Mets owner Steve Cohen has spent almost $400 million on new player contracts this offseason, a little more than 2% of his reported net worth. The guy is spending like a drunken sailor. He doesn't care. So I think he'll give Pete Alonso what he wants. And if Shohei Ohtani does want to come to the East Coast, which I'm not sure he does, because apparently what I think is going to happen is it's going to be the Dodgers versus the Mets trying to get his services next offseason, because the Dodgers, they are also basically, clearing their payroll and everything. That has been seen. They haven't made any big moves this year. Usually you're used to the Dodgers, them coming in, signing whoever one of the big free agents are. They're not doing that. Apparently this year they're trying to kind of clear that money for themselves. And I think next year they're trying to reset, and then they'll go ahead and go after Shohei. So it's definitely going to be the Mets versus Dodgers for Shohei. And we'll see if Shohei wants to come to the East Coast. Now, and you're not going to hear me say, oh, maybe the Yankees should be in on him because I don't see where Ohtani really fits in on the Yankees. Our DH spot, we have so many DHs on the team. I don't see how that's going to work. So he's not going to come here. But if he wants to come to the East Coast, I think the Mets definitely have a good chance because Steve Cohen, he doesn't care. He'll go ahead and pay Alonso and he'll pay Shohei Ohtani. He does not care. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. Now, we're going to segue into a different owner here who apparently says that he's doing everything it takes to win, and that's Hal Steinbrenner and the New York Yankees. So, as Jayden mentioned, the Yankees did re-sign Judge. I touched on it. So, basically, I thought he was gone too. I did think he was gone. We all saw the John Heyman tweet about arson Judge and blah blah blah. I was like, God. But anyways, after that, I was like, oh, if his source, that's a pretty bad source now. If his source told him that, there definitely had to be some rumblings. Now, apparently, he did meet with San Diego after that. They offered him a 10-year, $400 million deal. And then, later that night, Mr. Steinbrenner, he was in Italy. He was in Italy. So imagine if Aaron Judge did walk and Hal was in Italy not knowing what's going on. He would not be able to come back into the country. He would not. Yankee fans would not, he would be wanted by Yankee fans. So he basically calls Judge. Judge says, Mr. Steinbrenner, I want to be a Yankee. And then Steinbrenner's like, all right, what do you want? What do you want? He gives him that extra year, gives him a little more. Apparently, Judge did turn down a 10-year deal, from the Padres. So I guess he did want to be here if he turned down 10 years, which is that's something. Turning down 10 years, $400 million. Just imagine being able to do that as a professional athlete. That's just crazy. But anyways, going on to the Yankees here, I touched on it more. So you got to make more moves. We see it with the Mets. The Mets, they made more moves, after, signing Verlander, signing David Robertson, they made moves. Now the Yankees, apparently, news came out yesterday from Busteroni that we have something big planned. We have something big. Now, what is this big move that's planned? I don't know. It could be total BS, which it's probably it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not going to get my hopes up because I'm going to be like, oh, maybe we'll get Brian Reynolds. Oh, maybe we'll do a sneaky trade for, Corbin Burns or Brandon Woodruff. But no, it's probably just going to be us maybe trading for, maybe just trading Josh Donaldson away. Maybe that's what it'll be. But I'll take that as a win. Now, apparently, there's the prospect of the Yankees being interested in Carlos Correa. Okay. So I think if the Yankees are interested in Carlos Correa, then there's definitely behind the scenes, they are probably working on a trade. Now, I don't know if it's for a starting pitcher because if you go with Carlos Rodon, apparently he wants 7 years. The Yankees are at 5. So I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. And we know with Scott Boris's agents, he's going to just, he's going to get that somehow. He's going to find a team to do it. So apparently if you don't want to go after Rodon, fine. There is probably a behind the scenes, trade that they're trying to do right now, which involves one of your younger shortstops. And then if that trade goes through, then you sign Correa. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is also you're trying to trade for Brian Reynolds, an outfielder, and then you're going to have to use one of the shortstops and Jason Dominguez most likely in that trade. So then you still sign Correa, and you can even still sign Rodon. The Yankees have the money to do this. Maybe Hal sees Steve Cohen, and he's like, hey, I can't let this guy show me up. But who knows? I don't know if Hal cares that much. We just don't know. And then there's the third option where the Yankees, they are trying to, sign Rodon. They may just, I don't see them signing Rodon, Benintendi, and Carlos Correa all in one. But I think they're trying to work out a trade behind the scenes. I don't know who it's for, but let me get your guys' thoughts. Who do you guys think the Yankees could be trying to trade for?
Probably, I wouldn't say a person, probably somebody who they can rely on. Probably a pitcher, maybe a shortstop, depending what they're looking for. I'm gonna be real. I always think like the Yankees always make moves that they don't need, or sometimes they do make moves they need, but it's hard to say. I don't know. I really don't know. What do you think, Rodrick?
All right, I've given this some thought, and after considering it, I think the Yankees move on from Josh Donaldson. I think that they find a team like the A's or something. They get off his con. Actually, not the A's. They don't do that. Probably like it's just some team that's going to eat his salary, and they probably get him off with some mid-tier prospects. Now, in regards to Correa, that'd just be funny. I know Yankees fans. There's probably some Yankees fans that are probably thinking about it. Correa being a Yankee, but that'd just be funny in general. So I'm hoping they sign him. To be honest, I think they get him. I think they get Rodon. As far as a trade, they might push for Reynolds. They honestly might because they have the piece to do it. I know Russell said that the Yankees, Mr. What's his name? Cashman is kind of a prospect hugger. If I'm not mistaken, you said that, right?
Yeah,
so
multiple.
They won't give up Volpe. They shouldn't give up Volpe. They shouldn't give up Cabrera or even Dominguez. Somerset Patriots legend. But
yeah,
I think that I think they're gonna move on from Donaldson. Honestly, that's the first thing you need to do because, look at that owner. He doesn't spend a lot. He doesn't spend obviously like his dad. I think they need to, if they're gonna, make a splash. Like Russell said, this team is just the same team from last year, basically. Like there's no upgrade or, degrade or downgrade. So they got to make a move. And I think if they get Correa, they get Rodon, move on from Donaldson, maybe resign Benintendi, and start to build this team up for not just right-handed power hitters. It could probably, not win the offseason, but they could have a B+, A- offseason if they, desire to actually get better and not to sit on their laurels by signing Judge.
Jayden, but before I get to you, I saw your hand raised. I think, just real quick, Roger, because you said the Yankees winning the offseason, I think the Yankees would win the offseason if they sign Rodon, Correa, and then get. Whoa, Rodrick. I don't know what's wrong with your audio. I'm just going to mute you. Okay, like I said, I think the Yankees do win the offseason if they get Correa, Rodon, and then get Reynolds. I think they win. And then you also re-sign Judge, so that's still a plus. I think you do win the offseason. Those are some big moves. So, Jayden, I saw your hand raised. What did you want to bring up?
I just want to say, the Yankees, they could do that, but I feel like it's hard for them. It's hard for them, to make big moves like this. I just don't see them doing anything major. But I do see them trading him, probably getting something back. But I don't know. The Yankees is they're as you just said, they have the same team. They haven't really did anything crazy. They could have did a lot of different stuff going into this free agency, but they haven't did anything. They're just sitting. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do think they do trade him for something. Nothing crazy, but something.
Yeah, and then just looking at it all as a whole here, I think they do. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I do not know what's going on with Roger. Anyways, I do think a trade with Josh Donaldson, it's going to be hard to do, but if you can do that, because apparently House still does not want to go over the luxury tax. But I think, this is my bold prediction, the Yankees will end up with at least one of Carlos Rodon, Carlos Correa, or Brian Reynolds, barring a trade where they somehow, get someone we didn't even think was available, which they could be doing, but but we don't know that. So I'm just going to say out of the three guys, I think they'll get one of them. I think they will. I think they'll get two? It depends on if Pittsburgh is serious about trading Brian Reynolds. If they're not, then I think they're going to stand pat. They won't sign Correa. They'll just use the young shortstops, and then they'll just sign Benintendi. So that's how I think it'll go.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Rodrick. His screen is just black. I don't know what's going on. I'll text him after. Okay, so one more sports topic here. is the Nets and the Knicks. Who should we talk about first? Who should we talk about?
I feel like the Nets are going to have to be talked about first. They do have a lot of injuries coming into their game tonight. They are missing Katie and Kyrie, but the Nets, they haven't been this bad this season. I think, I just feel like they're trying to find their way as a team.
Yeah, and the Nets, they started off the season slow. I criticized them. Rodrick criticized them. I got on the Knicks more, so I'll get into that. But the Nets, it's nice to see. Like, they're back. They're fourth in the East, But going on to their injuries, and, they have a game tonight against Indiana. So Kevin Durant's out. Kyrie is out. Simmons is out. Seth Curry is out. Joe Harris is out. TJ Warren is out. Royce O'Neal is out. And Nick Claxton is out. I don't see the Nets winning this game. I think they'll be okay, though. If they lose this game, they're not going to drop, so it'll be fine. But some of these guys are on, like, injury management, so, like, load management, basically. So, because injuries are definitely a problem with the Nets. We've seen this in recent years. So, I guess it's fine. You're able to do that when you're fourth in the East now. So, I think it's definitely okay. Now, moving on to the New York Knicks. Oh boy, this is.
They're not looking good this year. I'm sorry to cut you off. You want to go first?
No, you go first.
Coming into this season, I thought the Knicks would come back, and they're going to make a run for the playoffs and come back and go crazy. But the Knicks just haven't found their way as a team. They're eighth right now. I do see them making the playoffs or getting a play-in, but I don't know. The Knicks just haven't found their way as a team. They haven't found their identity to make it to a championship caliber team. They have great players. Not saying that their plays are horrible, but I feel like they're missing a piece to the puzzle. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it has anything to do with the guards or because Derrick Rose is old. I don't know if they really want to keep him. And they have R.J. Barrett. He's a great guy, a small forward. They have a lot of great guys. It's just finding that one piece to make it to a championship caliber team. And that the Knicks are a great team. The Nets, going back into the Nets, they're a great team, and they just have the injury bug right now. But I feel like both New York teams, they're just both trying to, get to a championship caliber team right now in this part of the season.
All right. So, okay. I think the Nets are definitely trying to win this year. Now, when we move on to the New York Knicks, I do not think they are trying to win. No. This is what they're trying to do. I've said this once already. So you already have an owner, probably the worst, owner, and arguably the worst owner in sports, in James Dolan. I'm not even going to get in that guy. I basically already did a huge rant on him, but he's very controlling. He's weird because the Knicks always want to do this in between where they don't want to suck and then basically get a good draft pick, but they want to be like, oh yeah, we beat the Warriors one day, yeah, and then they're basically losing, throughout the season. They're a mediocre team, and that's what the Knicks are. The Knicks should not be trying to win right now. Let's just be real here. They don't have that team. The Julius Randle should not be. He should be on another team right now, especially when you have guys like Obi Toppin. You got Obi Toppin. His minutes are being blocked by Julius Randle. Yeah. You're not a win now team. You don't have those pieces. Jalen Brunson, I'll give it to him. He is balling out. But RJ Barrett, for what he's making too, he's been awful this year. RJ Barrett has been god awful this year. And there's a stat apparently for the minutes that he plays. He's one of the worst players in the NBA. He is not efficient. His shooting is not efficient. It's bad. And then you can't move his contract now. And then also you can't move Randall either because he has a 4-year deal that he's just starting. So and no one's going to take Julius Randle unless you're going to attach, a first-round pick or 2 on that. And do you want to do that for the Knicks? No, because you don't have the type of team to go ahead and say, oh yeah, you're not going to, if you do go into the play-in, you're not winning. Let's just be real here. You're not. You don't have that type of team. And then apparently now, you got Cam Reddish, who may or may not want to trade. We don't know what's going on there. And then now apparently the Knicks are in on Zach LaVine. I just don't get it. What is this team trying to do? What are they trying to do?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I mean, RJ Barrett's not a bad player. I just don't know what's going on. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I feel like Julius Randle, I don't think they should resign him. I'll be real. I mean, he had a great year.
The COVID year, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Obi Toppin, he's a great guy. Coming out of college, he had a lot of potential. But I do feel like Julius Randle is blocking him. Jalen Brunson is a great point guard. He's coming into this year and he's doing great. He was on Dallas. He wasn't really, going crazy. We didn't really hear about him until the playoffs really. Wasn't really a big name guy. Comes into New York, and is doing his thing. But New York is definitely missing something. And Julius Randle is not that guy. Did not think he was going to be that bad this year, but he's not doing as well as I thought he was going to be, or thought he was going to be doing well. Otherwise, their point guard is great, but Zach LaVine, I'm lost with that one. I'm totally lost with why they're going after him. They should really be stacking for next year, trying to get some draft picks. But you can't even say that because when the Knicks do get draft picks, they pick the wrong guys. So you can't even say that. The Knicks, they get the draft picks, then they go into the draft, they pick the worst guys, and then the next year they're like, oh, okay, well, we got, but then they have them on contract, salary cap. And now you can't move Julius Randle, and you need to make cap. First of all, I feel like they need to make cap, get a big signing in, doing a free agency next year. But I mean, the season is just beginning this year, so it's nothing you can really do. The Knicks, I feel like the Knicks are just lost. They're lost. They're just so lost.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm gonna go on into the drafting, drafting the wrong players too. So it's not about Randall being particularly bad. This is it with him. When you have Obi Toppin, a power forward you drafted after that COVID year, it's kind of like, okay, you're going to have to play Obi Toppin if you want him to progress here. And from what you've seen, when Obi Toppin does play, he's not bad. He's not bad. So, but the thing is, with Randall, he's hogging all the minutes. So it's kind of like, okay, why did we draft Obi Toppin in the first place? It was, well, after you saw, Randall had that year, all right, maybe you just don't draft the power forward. The Knicks, they have this weird obsession with power forwards. I don't get it. Like last year, when Obi should have been coming off the bench, they were playing Taj Gibson over him. Taj Gibson was getting 25 minutes a game. That should not be happening. It just should not. And then going back onto the Knicks drafting the wrong guys, the Knicks do not scout. They just don't. We've seen it when Phil Jackson, when he was running the team, it was bad. He was falling asleep at draft combines. And instead of picking on Donovan Mitchell, he picked guys like Frank Ntilikina because he wanted to do a stupid triangle offense that nobody runs anymore. Go on.
And another thing is they picked him and barely played him. You played the first season? Never seen him again. Traded him. Kristaps Porzingis, got him, traded him to Dallas. I don't know. I'm so lost with the Knicks. The Knicks have they drafted Kristaps Porzingis. Wasn't a bad player. Just had the injury bug. He wasn't a bad player, but it just wasn't the guy they needed at that time. They should have really went, for a point guard or something. I don't know what the Knicks are doing, but they're going to have to find a new owner to figure this out. I feel like the guys should sell the team, get a new owner in there, get a whole new system in there, and just get everybody out, start a whole new rebuild. Because obviously you have this team, and it's not like you have bad players. It's just that you're not executing with these players. You're not having a game plan for the right players. You have Jalen Brunson, you have Obi Toppin, you have Cam Reddish, you have RJ Barrett. You have all these different guys. You're just not using it to your advantage. Now, if we're saying the Knicks were like the Golden State Warriors, I feel like the Knicks were okay. The Knicks would be amazing, because they have the pieces to be a playoff caliber team, but they just don't know what to do with them. That's what I'm just trying to, say.
Yeah, and then also the Knicks, they make very stupid signings. We can look, like I said, You can argue with Randall too because, you drafted Obi Toppin. So it was like at that point, why would you give the guy an extension? And then also RJ Barrett, you kind of had to give it to him, but that extension is not looking good right now. It's not. And then another contract they gave that was pretty bad, Evan Fournier. You gave him a 4-year deal. That was not a good deal at all. The guy has 6.9 points per game. I'm not joking. 6.9 points per game for Evan Fournier. That's not good for a 4-year deal.
That's not good at all.
That's not good. And then, you also have Derrick Rose on the team who is he just shouldn't be on the team. I think he's just so mentally he's just checked out. I think he just wants off. And then you got Randall. Another issue here, with Randall and then RJ, Randall, he clogs up the elbow and stuff. He's always going to the left. The Knicks have all these lefties. Randall, RJ. I'm pretty sure Brunson's a lefty. It's Southpaw Central in New York. It's Southpaw Central. They got so many lefties. So it's, when they see Randall dribbling, everyone's like, go to the left, because that's what they're doing. So basically, it's you're in a tough spot here. And then also Mitch Robinson too. You gave him that money. He's been he doesn't score a lot. Last game he had 6 points. He's okay. He'll get you your rebounds. Sometimes he'll play defense, but it's the Knicks. It's just they're just so this is not a team that should be trying to win. It should be trying to tank because they just don't have it. But this is what they can't do it though. They can't because when you got guys like Julius Randle who is he's stat padding. He's a stat padder at this point. He's gonna go ahead and just try to score and do whatever. That's what he is. Brunson's been good. He didn't. Granted, he was 3 for 13 the last game and 2 for 14 the game before that. That's not good, but still, he's been he's been good. So I'll give him a pass. But the thing with Randall here, like I said, he's blocking Toppin, and if you really, if you're gonna play Randall this much, why did you draft Toppin in the first place? After seeing Randall had that year, why would you do that? But the thing with Randall is, after the COVID year, the fans came back, and then we kind of saw him going down a little. All the Knicks fans were like, yeah, Randall, blah, 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 blah. We're not seeing that anymore because there's fans back. He's like I said, he's been good, but he hasn't been, a star. That's what some Knicks fans after that COVID year thought he would be, but he's not. Let's just be real here. Randall is probably would I say Randall's a number 2 on a championship team? I don't know if I would say that. Maybe depending on who the other star is. But as of right now, I'd probably say he's like a good 3, maybe 2, depending on who that number 1 is. If you have a number 1, let's say Giannis, Randall, I think could be a passable number 2, but it just it depends. So the Knicks, they're not a championship team. I don't know why they're trying to do this in between stuff, and then especially trying to trade for Zach LaVine now. Apparently, it does not make any sense. I don't know how they're going to pull off that trade anyway. And Zach LaVine, he's always hurt too. So you're going to trade for a guy that's always hurt. You're going to give draft picks and stuff. Why would you do that? You're not going to win this year. They should be trying to tank. But like I said, you can't move Randall. Maybe you can move Fournier's contract next year, but it's just going to be very tough for them. We're gonna.
What do you think about? My fault.
No.
What do you think about RJ Barrett? Do you think he's going to be a player that they should keep for the next years? A couple more years and then trade him, or do you think he's not the guy? He's not the guy in New York right now.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't think he is the guy. I don't think he, as Knicks fans were thinking that he would be this number 1. No, he's not a number 1. Would he be? Knicks fans also thought he would be a number 2. No, he's not going to be a number 2. Now, he may develop into a decent 3, but I wouldn't even say he's a 3 at this point. I told Knicks fans he was mid, and they got mad at me at school and stuff like that. I digress. I'm not going to get into that. But RJ, here's the thing with him. He's not efficient with his shooting. He's not efficient.
Yeah.
That's why right now he's just not a 3. He's not efficient at all. You look at these games here, besides the Hornet game, against the Hawks, 4 for 13. Against the Cavs, 5 for 13. He is not efficient. If he got his, efficiency down, up, then maybe I think, he'll like maybe slip into an all-star game here or there, but he's not going to be like that, like big star in New York. I just don't see that happening. It's just not realistic. And then, like I said, Brunson is good, but then it just doesn't make sense when you wanted Donovan Mitchell so badly, apparently. Why were you basically trying to get Brunson beforehand? And why didn't you, save that money and the trade assets that you do have? You could have just done that. And we saw in the draft too. The Knicks were like doing this weird thing where they were trading their picks and like trading down. I don't know what they were doing. We were like, okay, so maybe they're trying to get a star, aka Donovan Mitchell. They didn't do that. So it's like, and then they went in the direction of signing Brunson, which was blatant tampering. It was pretty obvious. They literally signed his dad to, before they signed him. So like it was obvious. So, and even if they were still kind of in on Donovan Mitchell, even when they had Brunson, and it was like, okay, so let's say you do that. Where are you going to put Donovan Mitchell? You already have, Brunson, RJ Barrett, that's going to be a very small lineup. Or are you trading RJ Barrett in that deal, which the Knicks, I don't know if they wanted to do that at the time, which I'm sure they wanted to do it now. Because like at the time, like people like my dad, he was like, no, I wouldn't give RJ Barrett and multiple first round picks for Donovan Mitchell at that point when they already had Brunson. But now it's looking like they probably should have done that. So that way Mitchell can just still play the two because that's where he's better. He's not really like a point guard. He's way better as a shooting guard. So like I said, what can you do with the Knicks? It's just they're mediocre. They'll maybe make the play-in. And if they don't make the play-in, they'll probably, get like the worst lottery odds. That's what we're looking at with the Knicks here. Because they're not.
I think the Knicks just need to rebuild. I'm gonna be real. RJ Barrett needs to get moved. Jalen Brunson, they need to keep him. You can build off of that guy. You can build off of that one person. Get a shooting guard to complement his shooting. Get somebody in there that that can shoot. RJ Barrett is so inconsistent when he's shooting the ball, and it's sad to see. But I don't think he's supposed to be playing like that. I feel like he's more of a guy that's more of a 2-point guy. He's not more of a 3-point guy. But it's sad to see. Julius Randle, he just hasn't been the guy since that COVID year. I feel like it went to his head. I feel like he came in because he was more of a role player, in other teams. In LA, he was a role player. So now you come into New York, you get the star recognition you always wanted, and now it gets to your head and you want to, I don't think he's that guy. I feel like he needs to get moved. And I feel like going into free agency next year, I feel like they'll do that. But it just all depends on this owner. I feel like it's the owner that's holding them back.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like I said, James Dolan is probably the worst owner in basketball, I would say. And then you can make a case that he's the worst owner in sports, like within like being in control and stuff, in terms of like spending, that's like a whole different thing. But I'm just talking about like control and stuff. James Dolan is definitely one of the worst owners in all of sports. It's not even close. It's really bad with him. And apparently now he's trying to build something in Vegas. Will he sell the team after that? I don't know. I really don't know if he's going to sell the team. I don't think, as of right now, he's not going to. He has no interest in doing that. And, you got literally kids that are going to the games and they're saying, sell the team, Dolan. And he kicks them out. That guy is soft, and literally, and don't even get me started about the treatment of their own legends, like with Charles Oakley a few years ago and how they basically treated him. And then, with Spike Lee and stuff, I am not getting into that. It's just, he's not a good owner. It's not good. The Knicks' future is not bright as long as they keep doing this mediocre BS that they've been doing the past few years. Now, Jayden, any final thoughts before we end this?
No, I just wanted to say appreciate you letting me come on the podcast and letting me speak my mind.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely like to have you on the next week in review, or if the Mets do sign someone, Kodai Senga maybe, or if the Mets do make a trade for Shohei Ohtani somehow, I'd like you on the next episode, so that'll be great. So if you all can just do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video here at Planet of NY Sports. Peace out.